Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Now Drive CX. I rode this binding at Arapahoe Basin on a sunny bluebird day, warmer temps, you had chop, chunder, ice, slush, perfect corduroy, just basic spring-like conditions, and I rode it on my Ride Shadow Band snowboard with my K2 Thraxis boots. So much like other Now bindings, there isn't a ton of adjustability on this. You've got your twist cams on the toe and the heel, so you unscrew it and then you slide the strap forward or backwards and center it over your boot. You do have the twist high back just for your forward lean that you can play with, and then the big story is the bushings on the bottom. You can swap them out for whatever desired durometer you want. All right, so let's talk about the heel strap here. It's a little bit thicker foam, but this isn't gonna break down or stretch. It's gonna maintain its rigidity. It's got a good cutout that provides ample lateral support on each side of the boot, but allows you to have more forward flexion in your boot when you're driving it. It's a little more rigid, which is what you want, but it's also a little more lightweight. With the toe strap, it's rubber, it's gonna stretch, so just be aware that it's gotta break in when you get it right out of the box. But with the shaping of this, it's gonna fit a little bit better over a pointy-toed boot versus a snub-nosed boot. So you have to be aware of that and how it's actually gonna sit on your boot. I personally have a slightly pointy-toed boot. It's not like the most pointy-toed, so it fits a little bit better, but if I had a blunted shaped boot, I know that this would slip off. The ratchets climb well, they release well, you don't really have to worry about them. They feed in, they stay locked in. My biggest gripe is that the toe ratchet doesn't have the one finger quick release on it, so you're grabbing it from the front. That takes a little more torque in my opinion, especially when there are boots in there and you really crank it down. It's a small gripe, just make it universal. That's my take on it. This is the stiffest high back that Now makes, and it's carbon. So it's gonna be a very responsive high back. It's also very lightweight. You do have that slight wing right there that gives you a little more pressure when you're pushing out on it. But when you want response, this absolutely gives it to you. With the forward lean twist on there, you don't get as many forward lean options. This is pretty much more a set it and forget it. So if you're one of those guys that actually cranks your forward lean as the day goes on, which you're a psychopath, you're probably gonna have some issues with that. This is a very free ride centric binding. It's also very lightweight with all the carbon in there, which makes it super responsive. So when you're driving toe to heel, you're gonna feel a lot of power, especially from that skate tech, as well as the straps and the high back. And laterally, there is very minimal give in this. It's a lot of lateral power. So when you're like loading up to pop, or you're just driving that board, you're really going to feel it. Having this much carbon in a binding makes it very responsive. That means it's not the most damp. The foot pad does a great job of dissipating any kinetic energy coming up, but you still have a lightweight binding with a lot of carbon, so you are gonna feel a little more chatter than say if you were in the Drive Pro. That's just kinda how it is. Who's this binding for? The Free Ride Charger. Overall, this wasn't as stiff as I thought it was actually gonna be. It's stiff, I'm not denying that, but it's still responsive. I thought it would be stiffer. It didn't have that bear trap feel that some stiffer bindings have, which was absolutely nice. It's a solid binding. It really is for just charging. Comparable bindings, the Union Atlas FC, Battalion, Atom, the Bent Metal Solution. This has been my review of the Now Drive CX. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own a pair? Are you gonna buy a pair? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this binding. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click that bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.